Joining me now to discuss the restrictions on abortions and the current state of LGBTQ plus rights is Congressman Mondaire Jones of New York and Delegate Danica Roem of the Virginia House of Delegates and author of the Burn the Page. Thank you both very much for being here. And as you can hear, the Pride March here in New York City has begun, Congressman Jones. And so, given the confetti that's all around us, and as a congressman from New York, talk about the importance of where we are right now when it comes to our rights.
Well, look, it is great to be with you, Jonathan. It's great to be celebrating Pride. To have pride in oneself as an openly LGBTQ plus individual is an act of revolution. Joy is an act of resistance, especially amid everything that we're facing right now. It's not lost on me as we deal with the devastation from Friday's Supreme Court opinion overturning Roe v. Wade, that in that same decision, we saw Justice Thomas point to other rights, the right to marriage equality, the right to same-sex intimacy, and call those rights into question. And so we know what is next. It's why I've been fighting tooth and nail in Congress to make sure that we restore balance to this court by adding 4 seats, for example.
Delegate Roem, you are an historic figure in the Commonwealth of Virginia, the first out transgender person ever elected in the Commonwealth. I would love your perspective, because what we have seen all this year is legislatures around the country taking aim at transgender people, particularly transgender kids, singling them out for discrimination.
Well, so one of the first things I want to mention is that here in Virginia, we are still protecting our trans constituents. We are still protecting those trans kids, despite the fact that the Republican majority in the House of Delegates filed bills this year to attack them, despite the fact that in the 21-19 Democratic majority in the Senate, some of the Republican members there filed bills to attack those kids. And to every person who's standing behind you and marching today, I'm glad they're out celebrating. It is just as the Congressman was saying, it is a radical act to be, yourself. And at the same time, I hope every one of those folks there and every person watching at home understands the severity of grabbing a clipboard and getting out to actually help elect people who support the Equality Act, who support inclusivity at your local and state levels right now, and unseat the very people who are trying to take other people's civil rights away.
Delegate Roem, let me get you on one more thing. Governor Glenn Youngkin of Virginia is proposing a 15-week abortion ban, but it may not stop there. Could people in Virginia maybe looking at abortion eventually being banned altogether?
Well, that's going to be the goal of the Republican Party of Virginia. There's no question. And so right now, as I'm speaking to you, and for the remainder of this year, abortion in the first 2 trimesters remains legal in Virginia. And the talking point that they're trying to use with their 15-week ban right now is they're trying to say, oh, well, we're trying to reduce, everyone wants fewer numbers of abortions in Virginia. You know what the direct consequence of this Supreme Court decision is? There is going to be an exponential increase in the number of abortions performed in Virginia as people from Kentucky and other states start coming into Virginia. And by the way, we've already had an influx of patients coming in from states like Texas, for example. And what you're also going to have is, just this past Thursday here in Manassas Park in Manassas, I was talking to folks over at a Planned Parenthood rally where one of the people who spoke there talked about how she was sexually assaulted. Her abortion was able to basically restore her bodily autonomy, and she said it was suicide prevention. And it's not just for cis women, and this is why LGBTQ people have to care about what happened on Friday. This also affects non-binary people who are assigned female birth. This affects trans men. And just as Congressman was saying, just as we've heard earlier today, Justice Thomas laid out the marching orders to take away further civil rights from LGBTQ people. This is an all hands on deck. We have to win everywhere at every level of government, and we have to start doing it this year, right now, and next year when all 40 state Senate seats in Virginia are up and all 100 seats in the House of Delegates are up. I am asking you all to please come help us out. I'm running for the 30th district of the Virginia State Senate next year. We have to keep that difference. We have to.
Congressman Jones, just part of the parade, it seems like the first wave of the parade has already gone by. But what I found most moving is seeing, one, just how many people are actually out marching, but also the number of young people. And I remember coming to this march for the first time just a couple blocks up here, standing, watching the parade go by. And it just seems, back then, time was fraught. Now, today, in 2022, the time is fraught. Your advice to LGBTQ plus young people who are looking around at what's happening in the country and thinking, why are they targeting me? What could you say to give them hope for the future?
Well, look, Jonathan, you know that when I was growing up, poor, black, and closeted, I never imagined that someone like me could run for Congress, let alone get elected. And it was because of the work of people who came before me, who made the world into what it is today, a place where someone like me could be in the United States Congress and have made history as the first openly gay black member of Congress. That is something that people should draw strength from, that our work has been successful, but of course, progress must be fought for and protected. And this is going to take movement work. This is organizing, this is legislating, this is being transformative and bold in the solutions that we offer in terms of what we need to galvanize people to come out to vote, and of course what we need to stop the crises that we are facing right now. And so my advice to young people is that I'm a living proof of the fact that it does get better, and that if we keep fighting for it, we will win these fights, because people who came before us, like John Lewis's generation, for example, face far longer odds than what we face right now.
I'm sorry. I'm going to have to dance. Come on. But I just also want to point out, a moment ago, Mondaire Jones is running for re-election, and he had a bunch of folks who are behind us a moment ago.
Well, we are in the heart of New York's 10th Congressional District. This is a district that gave birth to the LGBTQ rights movement in America. Stonewall is here, for example. And Stonewall, by the way, the first Pride was a riot. Right. And we know that given all the progress that we made and yet all of the setbacks that we are on the cusp of experiences, and if we don't fight hard enough, that we need folks who are going to be fighting tooth and nail to make sure that we protect the rights that we have gained already. And this district has never had an openly gay representative in Congress somehow. Mm-hmm. I'm working to change that this summer.
All right, I because of all the great music, I can't hear my time cues. I don't know if we have enough time to... Delegate Rome, Danica Roem, can I come back to you? I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Congressman Jones, and that is, what would you say to LGBTQ plus young people who might be looking at what's happening around the country, where they are being targeted by elected officials, having their rights put in danger? What would you say to them to give them hope that there is a brighter future out there?
What I would say to those young LGBTQ people who are seeing their civil rights being attacked right now is, I know exactly what you're going through. As a trans woman who grew up here in the South, where the district I represent right now has the first battle of the Civil War, Manassas National Battlefield Park, right here in it, I understand what it's like seeing my legislators at the local and state level attack my civil rights. My predecessor, who was elected 13 times over 26 years, and he carried the constitutional amendment that banned marriage equality, put in the bathroom bill, among a slew of other anti-LGBTQ bills. But his real claim to fame at the time was being the most anti-abortion legislator in this, not just the South, but in the entire country. Mm-hmm. And in 2017, I stepped up, and we did the impossible. We won. And since we won, I've now had 32 of my bills signed into law. I am here to tell you that you have to be your best advocate. You have to step up, and you have to get engaged.